visuals in this video were proposed to me by Shlomo Markman. Hope you enjoy the episode, and thanks for your suggestion. Sorry if I have butchered your name. This broadcast is entirely fictional. All names, characters, locations, and events are products of imagination, created only for storytelling and dramatic effect. Any similarities to real people, places, or situations are purely coincidental. The content is not meant to harm, insult, or single out any person, group, community, or belief. Listener discretion is advised. If you like the broadcast, support its production by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. My name doesn't really matter anymore. Maybe it never did. What matters is that you're hearing this, that something inside the wires still carries a voice through the dark. You're tuned to what's left of the radio, broadcasting from a place that barely stands in a world that barely moves. I don't know how far this signal reaches. I don't know who's out there. But if you're listening, then we're not completely alone. Not yet. It's hard to keep track of time now. No clocks, no phones, no steady hum of life like there used to be. But if I had to guess, it's just after sunrise here. The light's cold and gray, like it's not really trying. The kind of morning that feels like it's holding its breath. The air inside the station is stale. We haven't had working ventilation since the blackout, and it smells like dust, sweat, and the faint, bitter scent of old wires. Outside, it's quiet. Not peaceful, not serene, just hollow. No cars on the road, no music bleeding from open windows, just wind, and the distant cracked cough of something burning. This is the last signal I know of. There may be others out there. I hope there are. But for now, this is it. I'm broadcasting from a small AM transmitter inside what used to be a weather station on the outskirts of an old town in northern Colorado. The backup generator here runs on diesel. We have a tank buried out back, and if I ration it carefully, maybe I can stay on for a few more days. After that, who knows? I don't have a name. It doesn't matter anymore. What matters is that someone, somewhere, might be listening. And maybe that voice can remind you that you're not alone. 3 days ago, everything changed. I was in the studio when it happened, sipping bad coffee, watching the wind roll over the prairie. Then the lights blinked. Once, twice. Then everything went black. I thought it was just a storm. Power goes out sometimes up here, especially in the spring. But then the backup systems didn't come on. The old landline cut out. My emergency radio, dead. I walked outside, and that's when I knew this wasn't just a local thing. The town was frozen. Cars stopped in the middle of intersections. People standing in the streets, holding up their phones like they were waiting for a signal that never came. There was this weird silence, like the earth itself had gone off the grid. And then the smoke started. I watched a city bus coast down a hill and slam into a power pole. No brakes, no steering, just momentum and panic. I saw a man run into a corner store and come out with an armload of bottled water. Nobody stopped him. Nobody cared. Some were crying. Others just stared, like they were waiting for someone to wake them up. It didn't take long for word to spread. A retired electrical engineer named Morris lives 2 blocks from here. He came by the station that night, lantern in hand, eyes wide like he'd seen something he couldn't unsee. He didn't even knock, just walked in and said, "It's an EMP. Has to be." Nothing else could do this. I asked him what that meant for us, really. He just shook his head. We're back in the 1800s, kid. Maybe worse. Since then, Everything's been slipping. First, the hospitals lost power. Then the water stopped running. The supermarket got looted by day 2. I walked past it yesterday. Empty shelves, broken glass, and someone had spray painted "Help Us" on the freezer door. If you're listening to this, I want to give you more than just bad news. I want to help. So here's what I know so far. If you can find a manual radio and some batteries, do it. If you've got access to a well, start boiling the water. Don't trust anything from the tap anymore. If you have neighbors, check on them, especially the elderly and people with kids. Even just talking helps keep people sane right now. And if you're near the edge of a town, look for abandoned farms. A lot of the old-timers still have hand tools, maybe even livestock. You'd be surprised what's been left behind in sheds and barns. I've been writing things down, keeping a journal of what works and what doesn't. I'll share it here, piece by piece. But right now, I want to share a call I recorded earlier on the emergency ham radio line. I can't verify it, but it sounded real. The voice was shaking. Her name was Alina. She said she was calling from outside Toledo, Ohio. Here's the recording. I don't know if anyone's out there. My name's Alina Carson. I'm a nurse, or I was before the blackout. I stayed at the hospital the first night, but then we lost power, and the generators didn't work. The ventilators shut off. I watched people die, just stopped breathing right there. We did what we could, but we weren't ready. We had nothing. I made it back to my apartment yesterday. I haven't seen my husband. He was out on a business trip in Chicago when it happened. If you're hearing this, Josh, I'm alive. I'm trying to hold on. That was from 2 nights ago. I haven't been able to reach her since. Another message came in from someone named Daryl out in Amarillo, Texas. He didn't say much, just enough to paint a picture I can't forget. The sky lit up orange. I thought it was a storm. Then the phone fried in my hand. I tried to start the truck. Nothing. It's like the whole world just stopped working. We've been using candles and an old wood stove. Shot a deer yesterday. Smoked the meat. I ain't seen power in 3 days, and I don't think it's coming back. I'll keep relaying these as long as I can. I've patched into an old CB radio tower, and if anyone's close enough, I might still get through. Out there, the streets are starting to look different. People are walking instead of driving. The night is darker than I've ever seen it. No streetlights, no passing cars, no glow from windows. Just stars and silence. And sometimes screams in the distance. I saw a woman today pulling a wagon full of canned food and 2 kids wrapped in sleeping bags. They looked like ghosts. I tried to call out, but she didn't stop. Just kept walking, head down, eyes fixed on some point only she could see. We're all trying to figure out what to do next. And the truth is, there's no rule book for this, no checklist for when the lights go out forever. But I've got some ideas. Start by organizing with your neighbors. Assign roles. Someone watches for fires. Someone handles water. Someone watches the kids. Pool your food. Set up a meeting point in case someone gets separated. Keep your radio dry and check for signals once a day. If you have a way to store rainwater, do it. Use bleach to purify, 8 drops per gallon, or boil it if you can, and stay alert. There are still good people out there, but desperation does things to folks. Keep something sharp nearby and don't travel alone if you don't have to. You'll want candles, lighters, blankets, batteries, canned food, multivitamins, and something to protect yourself. Look for crank radios, wind-up flashlights, anything that doesn't need a plug. The old stuff, the stuff everyone laughed at, is gold now. We're rediscovering a lot of things, like how to cook without a microwave, how to pass time without a screen, how to tell time by watching the sky. It's strange how fast we go back to being animals once the wires are cut. I had a conversation yesterday with a man named Eli. He's been sleeping in a camper out by the old gas station 2 miles west of here. He came by the station with a couple of canned goods and a fishing pole slung over his back. Said he figured I was probably running low on supplies, and he was right. Eli used to be a mechanic. Ran a little shop behind his house until the power surge cooked everything. He lost all his tools in a fire that started in the middle of the night. He thinks it was the battery charger shorting out. Now he carries a hand drill and a multi-tool like they're sacred items. He told me he's been trying to fix a bicycle for a woman who walks 12 miles a day just to get water for her kids. Everything's heavier now, he said. Every step, every thought, every sound. Like we're walking through a thick fog we can't see. We talked for a while, mostly about small things. How it feels to wake up without the buzz of a phone. How weird it is that we used to trust the weather app to tell us how to dress. How we all assumed someone, somewhere, had a plan for something like this. But the truth is, nobody did. I haven't heard from the government in days. No emergency broadcasts, no flyovers, not even distant radio chatter. It's like everything just blinked out. I used to think the worst thing would be noise. Sirens, screams, panic. But it turns out the real terror is silence. The kind of silence where you start hearing your own heartbeat, wondering if you're the only one left still listening. I had another message come in from a woman named Candace in Missoula, Montana. She sounded tired, but steady. Here's what she said. I teach science at the community college. Or, well, I did. My class was in the middle of a lab when it hit. All the screens went black. Lights shut off. One of my students was using a soldering iron. It sparked, then popped like a firecracker. No one was hurt, thank God. We spent the night in the building. It's made of concrete, and it held the heat. But by morning, the food was gone, and most of the kids left to try to find their parents. I stayed. I rigged up a little solar panel I had in my trunk and used it to power this old CB set. I don't know what to tell them anymore. I want someone to know we're still trying. Still trying. That's all we can do right now. Let me describe what I saw today. Just outside the town's main road, the traffic lights are still hanging, but they swing in the wind now, lifeless. One of them crashed down yesterday. It crushed the hood of a black SUV that hasn't moved since the blackout. The windshield's broken. There's a baby seat in the back, still strapped in. There's a diner across the street. The front windows are gone, shattered outward, like something inside exploded. Maybe a gas leak. There are soot marks climbing the walls, and inside I saw someone had spray painted, "We need insulin," on the counter in bright red. I don't know if anyone ever came to help. There are posters up too, handwritten signs on cardboard and old newspapers. Looking for Sarah. Has anyone seen Ben? We'll trade food for medicine. I walked past a man boiling water over a trash fire in a rusted shopping cart. He didn't look up, just kept stirring with a piece of rebar. And yet, in the middle of all this, I found something that made me pause. It was near the library. Someone had set up a whiteboard on an easel, and on it, they'd written 3 simple things. Need help? Check the school gym. Don't drink the river water. You are not alone. That last one stayed with me, even when I got back here. Even now. I keep thinking about the stuff we used to take for granted. How many of us knew how food got to the grocery store? Or what happened behind the walls of a water treatment plant? We just pressed buttons and expected things to happen. Now we have to figure it all out again, with no instructions. I don't have all the answers, but I'm learning. And if you're listening, maybe we can learn together. Let's talk about what works. If you have a stream nearby, find the cleanest source you can, ideally where the water's moving fast. Run it through a t-shirt or coffee filter first to get the grit out. Then boil it for at least a full minute, longer if you're above sea level. Don't trust bottled water unless it's sealed. If it's been opened, it could be contaminated. For light, candles are good, but dangerous. Try to find crank flashlights. Some sporting goods stores used to sell lanterns that run off kerosene or even animal fat. Get creative. Aluminum cans can be turned into lamps with a little oil and a wick made from cotton. And food? Rice and beans go a long way. Dry pasta, oats, peanut butter if you can find it. Barter is back now. I've traded radio parts for canned peaches and old clothes for matches. Skills are worth more than cash. If you can fix something, plant something, or teach someone how to purify water, you're valuable. There's something else I want to say before I lose signal again. Some people are going to get desperate. They already have. I've heard gunshots at night. I've seen stores with the windows smashed and nothing left inside but empty shelves and broken glass. But I've also seen neighbors building fires together, people putting out signs with maps, pointing the way to shelter. There's a man named Roger 2 miles north of here who set up a soup line in front of his garage. He boils potatoes and carrots in a metal drum and serves them out with old camping cups. He doesn't ask for anything in return, just says, "Everyone's got to eat." We are more than what we've lost. I want to share a moment with you that I'll never forget. Yesterday evening, just before dark, I climbed the water tower. The metal was cold under my hands, and the wind nearly took my breath away. But when I reached the top, I could see for miles. No lights, no engines, no motion, just sky and shadow. But then I heard it, singing, faint, from the direction of the church ruins. A woman's voice, steady and raw, no instruments, just one voice against the quiet. I don't know what she was singing, but it broke something open in me. I sat there until the stars came out. I think that's what we have left. Moments. Fragments of who we used to be, stitched together by whatever we can find to hold on to. So hold on, even if it's just for one more day. Even if you're alone in the dark. Even if all you have is this broken voice crackling through static. You are still here, and that matters. I'll be back on the air at sundown, if the generator holds. I'll keep reading messages, keep sharing tips, keep trying to reach whoever's still out there. If you hear this, tell someone. Use mirrors, smoke, chalk, whatever you've got. Let them know the signal is alive. And if you can, write me. Leave messages near the old tower by County Road 17. I check every morning at first light. We can rebuild something, even if it's small, even if it's just the memory of what came before. That's all for now. Save your strength. Check your perimeter, and don't give up. Not tonight. There's something strange about time now. It doesn't move the way it used to. Maybe it's the silence. Maybe it's the waiting. I used to mark the hours by traffic noise, by the distant rumble of trains, or the hum of fluorescent lights. Now it's just the rhythm of breath, the creak of old pipes, the way the shadows crawl along the wall. The diesel's holding for now. I drained the backup tank from the weather van outside and patched it into the generator line. Should buy me another day, maybe 2 if I keep everything but the transmitter shut down. No heat, no lights, just this mic and your ears, if you're still listening. Someone left a note at the tower today. I found it folded into a plastic sandwich bag, duct-taped to the base. It said, "Still here. Found your voice last night. It kept us going. Thank you." Carla, David, Junie, age 5. I don't know where they're sheltering, but they must be close enough to hear the low band. Carla, if you hear this again, keep leaving messages. I'll keep reading them. Junie, if you're still out there, sweetheart, your mom is doing the bravest thing a person can do. You hang on to her, all right? I want to tell you about the morning the plane stopped. There was a moment, maybe 5 hours after the blackout, when I looked up and realized I hadn't heard a single engine. No jets, no helicopters, just empty sky. That was when it really sank in, when I realized this wasn't just a downed grid or some massive system crash. It was something deeper, something permanent. Later that night, the stars came back. All of them. Whole constellations I'd forgotten existed. The Milky Way looked like spilled flour across black glass. Beautiful and terrifying. Because for the first time in my life, I understood just how alone we really are up here. I've got another voice to share. One that hit me hard. My name is Joseph. I'm calling from outside Memphis. I used to be a line cook, just a guy in a kitchen making hash browns and eggs. I walked to work every day, didn't own much. When the lights went out, I stayed at the diner. Figured power'd come back like it always does. It didn't. A couple of the regulars stayed too. We locked the doors. We boiled rainwater on the griddle. Ate the meat before it spoiled. I've been here 12 days now. There's only 3 of us left. We listen to the silence and pray someone hears us. If you do, we're here. And we still got some cans. 12 days. That means he's been surviving longer than I have. Which means it's possible. Hard, ugly, exhausting. But possible. That's what I keep trying to remember. There are still people out there doing what they can. A woman named Rima left a shortwave message from central Utah. She said her dad was an amateur radio guy, always tinkering in the garage. She used to roll her eyes when he bought hand crank batteries and solar panels, just in case. Now, she said, that garage is the most valuable room in town. She's using a 12-volt car battery and a solar array her dad rigged to a shed roof. She broadcasts every morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time with a list of supplies they need, aspirin, insulin, tarps, and a list of what they can trade, dried fruit, tools, wool socks. And that's how it's starting to happen. Barter networks, message boards on plywood, safe zones marked in chalk. It's like watching the very first pieces of a new civilization stitch themselves together, one jagged edge at a time. But it's not all good news. Yesterday I found a man digging through a burned-out hardware store. He looked half-starved, clothes shredded, eyes hollow. He was clutching a can of paint like it was gold. When I asked if he was all right, he just stared at me. Then he said, "There are wolves now." I thought he meant animals. Coyotes, maybe. But the way he said it, the way he clutched that paint can like a weapon, it hit me differently. He wasn't talking about animals. People change when they're hungry, when they're afraid. The thin line between order and madness frays quick when the lights go out and no one's watching anymore. I hate to say it, but we have to be ready for that too. It's okay to be scared. I'm scared too. But fear doesn't have to paralyze you. It can sharpen your senses, help you prepare. Here's what I've learned about defense. If you can fortify a door, do it. Heavy furniture, screws, chains, tie bells or tin cans to entryways so you can hear movement. Keep a flashlight near your bed. Keep your water, tools, and food where you can grab them fast. Work in pairs if you can. One person rests while the other watches. Don't light fires at night unless you can block the glow. And if you're sheltering in a basement or interior room, mark the exit paths clearly. Smoke and panic don't mix well. Listen, I'm not telling you to be paranoid. I'm telling you to stay aware. There's a difference. But just as important, don't lose the thread of what makes you human. Even now, I saw a boy give his last granola bar to an old man yesterday. No hesitation. Just passed it over and sat next to him, sharing the silence. The old man looked like he hadn't spoken in days, but he smiled. Moments like that, they matter more than ever. We are not just survivors. We're still people. We still get to choose kindness, even if the world around us forgets. I know this is long. I know the words pile up. But if you've made it this far, thank you. That means you're still here. That means you've got a chance. So let's talk survival again. If you're near a train yard, look for hand tools, steel, rope, heavy clothing. These places were built to last. Same with fire stations, libraries, and old schools. They often have backup generators, diesel tanks, maps, and first aid kits. Maps, by the way, are gold, the paper kind. Roads are changing, bridges are out, gas stations are empty, GPS is dead. If you find a map, guard it. Mark safe spots, water sources, shelters. Share it, but wisely. I'll be updating a hand-drawn one of my own and reading coordinates tomorrow night. If you can hear me, get a pen. Tune in at the same time. If we can't find each other by voice, maybe we can by ink. I've also been learning from old manuals, car repair books, first aid guides, military survival pamphlets. These things used to collect dust. Now they're priceless. Check attics, garages, secondhand stores. You'd be surprised what got left behind. We're not going back. Not for a long time. If ever. But maybe that's okay. Maybe in the ashes of everything digital, we remember how to be real again. That's all I've got tonight. The generator's starting to sputter, and I want to save what power's left for a morning check-in. If you're out there, light a candle in the window. Not too bright, just enough that someone walking past might know they're not alone. Keep watch, stay warm, write things down, and never stop listening. I'll be back, I promise. I woke up shivering this morning. It's late spring, but the nights have turned bitter without central heating. You don't notice how cold the world can be until the systems holding it at bay are gone. The kind of cold that creeps into your bones. The kind that makes you feel like even the air doesn't want you to survive. I wrapped myself in 3 layers, but the chill stayed. Outside the station, frost clung to the weeds and old radio tower like the earth was trying to reclaim them. There was no sound. Not even birdsong. I've noticed that. Fewer birds. Maybe they're migrating early, maybe they're just hiding, or maybe whatever happened up there in the sky shook more than just us. The static on the airwaves has changed too. It comes in sharp waves now, like a pulse, like something wounded trying to scream in silence. Every now and then I catch a burst of signal, a whisper, a fragment, but they vanish as fast as they arrive. But then, today, I got a real voice again. This is Nora. I'm just outside Charleston, West Virginia. We've turned the high school into a shelter. The gym has no heat, but we have blankets. The old chemistry teacher brought iodine tablets. We're filtering creek water through old coffee filters. My dad brought down a deer last night. We're feeding 27 people, most of them kids. If you hear this, please bring salt, or soap, or just news, anything. We're still here. 27 people. In a school gym with no power, no running water, no medicine. But they're surviving. If anyone near Charleston is listening, find them, help them, bring what you can. I want to talk more about survival. But before I do, I need to say this clearly. This was no accident. I don't know who pushed the button, or if it was even a button at all. I don't know if it came from the sky, or a missile, or some satellite we never heard about. But someone did this, or something did. This wasn't a power failure. It wasn't weather. It wasn't just the grid collapsing under its own weight. This was a kill switch, and we were never meant to survive it. The signs were there. I think about that now. Strange reports, satellites blinking out, rumors of failed launches, testing that never made the news, and the way officials just vanished. No statements, no press conferences, just silence. If anyone has theories, information, anything, I'll read it on air. We deserve to know what happened. We deserve to understand why. Until then, we deal with what's in front of us. Here's what I've gathered about food. If you have seeds, any seeds, plant them. Doesn't matter if it's corn, tomatoes, beans, squash. Plant them in anything with soil. Buckets, bathtubs, tires. Just get something in the ground. If you're near a river or lake, learn to fish. Hooks can be made from bent wire, even paper clips. Bait with worms or spoiled meat. Clean your catch thoroughly and boil it if you can. Check pantries in abandoned homes, but be respectful. If someone's left a note, move on. If a home is clearly still occupied, don't risk it. Leave something behind if you take something. A kindness returned is a debt repaid. Food rots fast without refrigeration. Canned goods, dried rice, beans, jerky, these last the longest. If you find vinegar or salt, guard it. They're keys to preservation. And don't forget nature. Wild onions, dandelions, chickweed, these can be eaten. Just be sure you know what you're picking. A mistake can cost you more than a bad meal now. Let me shift for a moment. Talk about something else I saw today. A man named Travis used to work maintenance at the train yard. He's been building a windmill out of scrap. Blades from ceiling fans, body from an old bike frame. It's crude, but it's spinning. He's charging old batteries, running a shortwave off the power. Says he wants to build a community light post, powered by wind, to mark the town center. The first night he got it running, 3 families showed up and made camp nearby. Sometimes light still draws us together. There's been conflict too. A supply run went bad 2 towns over. A group came back missing one of their own. Nobody's saying what happened, but their faces told enough. This world is changing fast, and not everyone's changing with it in the same way. We've got to keep our heads and our hearts. If someone's in trouble, help them, but protect yourself. If your gut says something's wrong, it probably is. I was thinking earlier about the old times, about how we used to worry over passwords and storage plans and battery life. Funny, isn't it? Now all that's left is what you can carry and what you remember. There's a man named Jorge who came by today. He used to be a librarian. Said he started teaching again out of a notebook and memory. Reading, math, even science. He's gathered a group of kids under the broken shell of an old civic center and reads to them by candlelight. He said something that stuck with me. We used to measure people by how much they knew. Now we measure them by how much they remember. He's right. I keep trying to remember recipes, the way my mother tied knots, the way my grandfather sharpened tools. Because books burn, batteries die, but memory, that's a kind of fire you can pass on. Let me end tonight with a short story. There's a boy named Mason, no older than 10, lives with his grandmother near the river. She can't walk well. They've stayed put, surviving off root vegetables and fish. Mason built a trap out of sticks and string, caught a squirrel yesterday. Instead of eating it, he brought it to a neighbor who'd run out of food days before. His grandmother told me this when I stopped by. She said Mason didn't ask for anything in return, just said, "We gotta help the people who can't help themselves." That's the world we still get to choose. We didn't choose this disaster, but we get to choose what we become in it. And I hope, if we're lucky, if we're kind, if we remember the best parts of what made us human, we'll come out of this not just alive, but awake. I'll be here again tomorrow. Until then, guard your light. Rest when you can. And if you have hope, pass it on. Someone out there needs it more than you know. I was out just before dawn. Needed to check the water traps. There's an old gutter system behind the post office that's still intact, and when it rains, which isn't often enough, I set out plastic sheets and bottles to collect the runoff. The sky was the kind of color that makes you stop. Pale, bruised orange bleeding into slate blue. Like the earth forgot what warmth used to look like. I didn't hear a single engine, but I did hear footsteps. Not close, just far enough to keep you guessing. That's the new language now. Crunch of gravel, rustle of leaves, the slow creak of something shifting under wind. Each one means something. You learn to read the world by sound. Back here, the station is holding steady. The backup battery's down to 2 bars, whatever that really means now. The fuel drums are getting low. I'll have to shut off during daylight hours soon, just to stretch what's left. If you hear silence from this frequency during the day, I'm not gone. I'm saving power. Earlier, I patched in a conversation with someone from Spokane, Washington. She called herself Rosie. She was short of breath, like she'd run a mile to get to her setup. If you're still broadcasting, I need someone to know. We're holding out at the fairgrounds. We've got a working well and some solar panels that still charge during the day. There's about 50 of us. My husband, he figured out how to use a broken golf cart motor to get one of the pumps working. We're trading what we can, rationing everything. But people are scared. One woman buried her son last week. He had asthma. We ran out of inhalers. He couldn't breathe, and there was nothing we could do but hold him. She cried when she said that. I turned down the volume, not out of disrespect, but to let her have that moment in peace. Rosie, if you hear this again, you're not alone, and your message is reaching others. I've already received 2 notes here from people near Idaho who say they'll head your way if they can. Carefully, quietly, with whatever they can carry. I want to speak now to the ones sitting in the dark, the ones who feel like they're hanging on by a thread. You're still here. Even with all the silence, all the loss, all the things breaking down inside and out, you're still here. And that matters more than you think. Let me walk you through a few more things I've learned about keeping going. Batteries. If you can salvage them, do, especially from smoke detectors, remote controls, toys. The smaller ones can still power radios in short bursts. Try warming cold batteries in your hand before use. They last longer that way in the cold. Old watches, hearing aids, even key fobs. Some have button cells you can repurpose. Get creative. Be gentle with the things you'd normally throw away. Matches. Strike anywhere are better than safety matches, but if you're stuck with the latter and no box strip, use fine sandpaper or the rough edge of a ceramic mug. As for light, used cooking oil can make a decent lamp. Twist a strip of cloth into a wick and set it in a jar. Anchor it with a rock. Keep the flame low. Glass containers are better than metal. They won't conduct heat and burn your hands. Now, food. If you're down to foraging, look for high-calorie options. Acorns can be boiled and leached of bitterness. Pine needles can be steeped for vitamin C. Avoid mushrooms unless you're absolutely sure. Same for berries. And don't trust anything with a milky sap unless you've read about it. If you're able to catch or trap rabbit, squirrel, fish, cook it thoroughly. Strip the meat close to the bone. Use the bones for broth. Nothing goes to waste now. Nothing. And now, another voice. This one from Greg in southern Indiana. I used to be a firefighter, retired last year. Never thought I'd use those skills again, but here I am. There's a group of us using the town's water tower as a signal point. We light a flare every night at dusk, just for a few seconds. Enough to let people know where we are. We've got about 6 families here. Built a perimeter out of old fencing and parked cars. Not perfect, but it buys us time. I've been teaching people how to do first aid again, how to stop bleeding, how to deal with infection. It's like going back to basics. And people are learning fast. Real fast. Greg, you are what's keeping this country breathing. Thank you. Let's talk about something that doesn't get said enough. The mental part. I know some of you are losing track of days. You wake up and don't know what to do first. You sit in the dark and think about the life that's gone. The people who aren't calling back. The noise that used to fill the cracks. I feel it too. There are nights I wake up gasping. Dreams of blinking screens and hot coffee and familiar songs. Then I remember. And the quiet hits me like a wall. It's okay to cry. It's okay to scream into a pillow. Just don't let the grief freeze you. Find rhythm. Make rituals. Boil water the same way each morning. Clean your tools. Write things down. If you can find a book, read a page every day. If you can sing, sing softly, even if it's only for yourself. Talk to someone. If you're alone, talk to the walls, the trees, the sky. Talk to me. I'll listen. And here's the thing. We're not meant to carry all this by ourselves. Even in a world that feels like it ended, we need each other. This station, this voice, it's just one way. But I believe you can feel it. The pulse behind the words, the warmth. I got a scribbled message today. It was written on the back of a receipt. Said, "Saw your signal. Been walking south for days. Slept in churches and garages. Shared my last apple with a woman who gave me a pair of socks. That's the trade now. Need for kindness. Hope to hear you again soon. Miles, somewhere near Des Moines." Miles, thank you. That's what this is about. Before I sign off for the night, one more quick tip. If you're near rail lines, follow them. They usually lead to supply yards, water towers, or fuel depots. Look for old hand cars, metal tools, signal equipment. Some of that's still useful. Just be cautious. Don't go alone. Mark your path as you walk. I'll be back at first light tomorrow. I'll share more voices, more lessons, more signs that we are still here. Until then, sleep lightly. Keep a knife close. Say your loved ones' names aloud, so you don't forget the sound. And remember, this isn't the end. It's the long, quiet middle, and we're walking through it together. I couldn't sleep last night. I laid on the cold floor, wrapped in 3 layers, eyes open, listening to the generator whisper and click. Every sound outside felt sharp, even the quiet ones, especially the quiet ones. At one point, I thought I heard someone tapping metal near the fence, just a light clink. Then it stopped. I sat there for a full hour with a hammer in my hand, barely breathing. Nothing followed. Maybe it was wind. Maybe not. This world we've dropped into, it's full of those maybes now. Maybe the water's clean. Maybe the fire won't spread. Maybe they're just passing by. That's the worst part of the silence. You fill it with guesses. But I'm still here. Still on the air. The backup system coughed a few times this morning, but I got her to hold. Cleaned out the filters, tightened the line, prayed a little under my breath. There's a kind of prayer you start to learn when there's no one left to hear it but you. It's half whisper, half promise. You say it to yourself like, keep moving, keep breathing, don't fall apart now. I picked up another call today. It was weak, full of static, but I got enough. A young voice. Maybe 13, 14. A girl. She didn't give her name. We're okay, I think. I mean, we're not sick or anything. It's me, my little brother, and my uncle. We've been sleeping in his truck. It doesn't drive anymore, but it keeps the wind off. We eat whatever we can find. He caught a rabbit yesterday. I couldn't look at it, but I ate it anyway. I keep pretending we're just camping, like this is some long trip, and Mom and Dad are gonna come pick us up. Then the line cut. I waited a while, in case she called back. She didn't. If you're listening, if that was you, I heard you. You're not alone. Keep pretending if it helps, but keep going, no matter what. There's a part of me that still waits to hear a government voice crackle through the static. A president, a general, even just a weather report. Something to remind me that somewhere, someone's still turning the wheels. But nothing yet, just us. And we're doing better than we think. Last night, I lit a fire inside a tin barrel outside the station. Just small, just enough to warm my hands. After a while, a man and woman came by. Strangers. They didn't say anything at first, just nodded. I handed them a cup of boiled water, and they sat near the fire in silence. I didn't ask their names. I didn't need to. There's a kind of bond you feel out here now, something that doesn't need words. It's in the way people hand each other food, the way they lift bags over fences, the way they don't ask where you've come from unless you offer. Later, I found a folded note by the fire pit. It said, "Thank you for the light." Let me tell you a few things I've noticed in the last 6 days. Number 1, people are finding ways to make do. I saw a bicycle rigged to a car alternator yesterday. A kid was pedaling it to charge a lantern. Not perfectly, not efficiently, but it worked. That's what matters now. Not perfect, just possible. Number 2, information travels faster than you'd think. Messages on chalkboards, sheets hanging off roofs, hand-drawn maps nailed to trees. People are figuring out how to leave signs. Water here, danger there, food ahead. It's primitive, but it works. If you find a message, leave one back. Even just your name. It means more than you know. Number 3, the old ways are coming back. Wood stoves, horses, hand tools, even printed books. I watched a woman teach 3 kids how to sew by candlelight using clothes pulled from an old donation bin. She said, "We're not dressing for style anymore, we're dressing for survival." Number 4, grief. Grief is everywhere. It's in the way people talk slower now, in the way they hesitate before mentioning anyone's name. You ask, "Where's your husband?" And they pause, blink, look down. Not all the loss is from hunger or sickness. Some of it is just heartbreak. But here's number 5. We're still here. And that, to me, is the start of something. Let me share another voice. This one's from a man named Dennis, outside Albuquerque. We've cleared out an old rest stop along I-40. There's maybe 20 of us here. Someone found an old propane tank and a working stove. We take turns cooking whatever we can scrounge. Found a crate of canned fruit in a broken vending machine last night. Jackpot. My brother rigged a string of Christmas lights to a car battery. First light we've seen in 5 days. People cried. Light makes people cry now. That's the world we're living in. Let me pause here and talk about organizing. Because if you're part of a group, even just a handful of people, you need structure. No one's coming to lead us. We have to lead each other. Choose someone to manage supplies, someone to handle security, someone to track weather, trade, signals. Doesn't need to be official, just consistent. Have check-ins, morning and night, even just eye contact. A nod. Make sure no one's slipping through the cracks. And talk. Not just about food or threats or travel plans. Talk about memories, stories, what life used to feel like. It reminds us why we're doing this, what we're trying to hold on to. I know I repeat myself sometimes, but that's because the truth hasn't changed. You are not alone, even now. Especially now. I'll be broadcasting again at sundown. Signal might be weaker then. Cloud cover's been bad lately. But I'll try. I always try. Leave me messages. At the tower, at the creek post, even just scratched in the dirt nearby. I check all of them when I can. I collect them, read them out loud. It keeps me going. Until then, boil your water. Share your fire. Guard your light. I'm still here. You are too. That's enough for now. That's everything. It's nearly dusk now. I'm back on the air for the evening check-in. I walked further than usual today. Needed to see if the old supply depot outside town had anything left. It was picked clean. Not even a bolt left in the walls. Someone stripped the copper wiring too, probably for trade. But the walk wasn't a waste. I passed through a small neighborhood I used to drive by all the time, never thinking much about it. Today it was different. Someone had marked each house with a red symbol, hand-drawn, likely chalk. I followed the markings and ended up at a makeshift community hub. They'd set up benches out of scrap wood, a fire ring in the middle, and what looked like a bartering board. Trade, cans for medicine, wool blankets needed, have seeds. It was all very quiet, but you could feel the rhythm of it. People surviving. People building something again, even if it's slow. An older woman named Edna approached me there. She had soft eyes and a scarf tied tight around her face. Said she used to run a bakery. Now she dries apple slices in her greenhouse and hands them out to kids who pass by. She gave me a handful, told me to chew slow. They're sweet but precious. We talked for a bit. She said the hardest part wasn't the hunger. It was the waiting, not knowing if the next knock on the door would be someone looking for help or someone looking to take everything. Still, she keeps her windows open during the day. Said sunlight helps people believe again. That stuck with me. I want to share something practical tonight, some hard-won knowledge for those trying to make it day by day. If you're running low on food, here's what to watch for. Tree bark. Intercambium layers of pine trees are technically edible. Scrape the outer bark, then peel the softer inside layer. Dry it, grind it, or boil it. It's bitter, but it fills your stomach. Cattails. Every part is useful. Roots can be cooked, stalks can be eaten raw if fresh, and even the fluff can be used for insulation. Grasshoppers. Yes, insects. If you catch them in the morning when they're sluggish, you can roast them over fire. Pull off the legs and wings first. High protein, low shame now. As for shelter, start insulating. It's going to get colder. Even if it's warm now, even if you're in the south. Nights are long and weather's changing. Use cardboard, old clothes, plastic sheeting, anything that traps body heat. And if you're traveling, mark your path. Stack stones, scratch symbols into trees. Something simple, something others can follow or avoid. Here's another message I picked up today. This one from Dahlia in Sacramento. We've got about 10 families here in an old church basement. My son Leo figured out how to use tin foil and old CDs to boost our signal. He's 12. The first thing he asked me after the blackout was, "Are we going to die?" And I told him no, because we have each other. That's still true. I just hope he doesn't forget the world that used to exist. Dahlia, if you hear this, he won't forget. He'll remember the good and the bad. He'll carry it with him, and maybe he'll build something stronger from the ashes. I know there's a lot we've lost. Music, laughter, the comfort of knowing someone's just a phone call away, warm showers, grocery stores, the ability to flip a switch and banish the dark. But we still have fire, we still have voices, and we still have each other. There's power in that. Before the blackout, I never really looked people in the eye. I mean, really looked. Now I do. I watch for signs of panic, for hope, for weariness. You learn to read people by their silence, their hands, the way they breathe when the firelight flickers on their face. We were numb before, comfortable, distracted. This is hard, but it's awake. There's a man named Isaiah who walks by the station every afternoon. He doesn't talk much, but he waves. Always carries a bucket of water from the river and a broom. Cleans out gutters. Clears trash from doorsteps. Says keeping the town clean gives people hope. I asked him once why he still sweeps when nobody's watching. He said, "Because one day, someone will be." Maybe that's the kind of thinking we need now. Another message. This one came handwritten, folded into a waterproof envelope, taped to the base of the tower this morning. To whoever's broadcasting, thank you. My name is Ruby. I'm 61. I live on the edge of what's left of Knoxville. I've got a wood stove, chickens, and a well. I've taken in 4 kids who lost their parents. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm trying. Your voice reminds me we're not completely alone. If anyone's out this way, I can offer shelter. It's not much, but it's warm. Leave a stone on the stump out front, and I'll come find you. Ruby, I don't have the words, but I want you to know your message reached us. It reached me. And I hope someone out there finds that stump, finds your fire, finds your kindness. We all need that now. Let me close this check-in with something that happened just before I returned to the station. I passed a window, an old house, boarded up but still standing, In the window, someone had drawn something in dust, a stick figure holding a flower. Next to it, they'd written a single word. Still. No, help us. No, go away. Just still. Still alive. Still human. Still trying. That's the message I want to leave you with tonight. Still here. Still breathing. Still fighting. I'll be back again tomorrow. If the fuel holds. If the air stays quiet. If the old wires keep humming. Until then, ration your food. Save your warmth. Light a candle if it's safe. Write something. Speak to someone. Be still, but never stop. The wind is loud tonight. It pushes against the building in slow, hollow gusts, the kind that whistle through the cracks and remind you just how thin the walls are between you and the world. I'm speaking low right now, not because I'm afraid of being heard, but because this kind of night makes you quiet. Even your own voice feels like too much. Earlier, I took a walk around the perimeter. Nothing unusual. A few empty cans scattered near the old gate, an abandoned backpack that had already been picked clean. But there was something carved into the wooden fence on the west side. Just 2 words. Hold fast. I traced it with my fingers, just to feel the pressure of someone else's hands. Whoever carved it, they were trying to leave something behind. A message, a command, a reminder. And I heard them. Hold fast. I want to tell you about a man I met this morning. His name is Maurice. Used to be a chemistry teacher. Walks with a limp and wears a heavy coat that hangs off him like armor. He stopped by the station with a basket of hard biscuits and dried apples. Said he doesn't believe in radio anymore, but he believes in people who try. Maurice runs a small school now. 3 rooms in an abandoned motel. Kids come when they can, wrapped in coats, pencils worn down to stubs. He teaches them math with charcoal on plywood, recites poetry from memory, and shows them how to make soap from ash and fat. He said something I wrote down right away. Survival isn't just about living. It's about remembering how to live. There's truth in that. We're not just animals now, clawing for calories and shelter. We're still thinking, still reaching, still capable of beauty. Even here, even now. I saw beauty today. It was in the way a girl, no more than 9, carried a bucket of water up a hill without being asked. It was in the way a man gave up his gloves so another could hold a baby without shaking from the cold. It was in the smile of someone who hadn't smiled in days just because someone else remembered their name. That's the real resistance, not violence, not hoarding, but love. Quiet, stubborn love. And now, a voice from Minnesota. This is Eric. I'm in a town called Lino Lakes. Cold up here, real cold. We've been using old furniture for firewood. I salvaged a small generator from a boat dock and wired it to a wine vein. Works on and off. Enough to keep the signal alive. I'm reaching out because we found an elderly couple holed up in their trailer. They were scared. Didn't want to come with us. Took me 3 days just to convince them I wasn't there to steal from them. Now they eat dinner with us every night. She hums when she cooks. Reminds me of my mom. Eric, if you hear this, I want to thank you for not giving up, for staying kind. That couple will remember you for the rest of their lives, however long those lives may be. It's strange how we're all slowly rewriting the rules, how things we thought were permanent turned out to be dust. There's no money anymore, no internet, no police, no banks, no scrolling feeds to tell us who we're supposed to be mad at. Just people. And I think that's the scariest part for some. Having to look at each other. having to be real again. I won't pretend this is noble. It's not. It's hunger and cold and grief and fear. It's loss so deep you forget how it started. But underneath that, there's still something worth protecting. I've been thinking a lot about what to say to people who are still alone, who haven't found a group yet, who wake up and go to sleep in silence. So here's what I'll say. Start small. One step, one fire, one day. Get water. Stay warm. Write things down. Talk to yourself if you need to. Whisper your name so you don't forget who you are. And listen for signals. The world isn't dead. It's just very, very quiet. But if you listen close enough, you'll hear the pulse. We're still out here. Someone passed through town today, left behind a tin full of batteries and a note that said, "For whoever needs it more." No name, no signature, just that. Whoever you are, thank you. You reminded me why this station is still on the air. Before I close tonight, one last story. There's a couple living near the Ridge Trail, Marcus and Janelle. They're building a little garden using melted snow and old fertilizer. They sleep in a broken-down school bus. No insulation, but they've lined the walls with books, real ones, paper and ink. Every night, they read a few pages out loud. Janelle says it keeps the dark from creeping in too fast. I asked them once if they were afraid of being found. Marcus said, "We already were." Then he smiled. That's what I'm holding on to tonight. The idea that maybe we're not just surviving, but being found. I'll be here again tomorrow. Same place, same voice, same stubborn signal, humming low and quiet across a broken sky. Sleep safe. Keep a flame lit. And remember, hold fast. I don't know what time it is anymore. I just wait for the light to shift, for the color of the air to tell me it's morning. I miss clocks in the same way I miss coffee. Quietly, in the background, like something I didn't realize was part of me until it was gone. But I think it's morning. It feels like morning. The kind of morning where everything's damp and cold and your breath fogs when you speak. I cracked open the emergency tin today. Dried lentils, matches, a folded map, a photo of someone I don't know. Found it in a drawer under the radio gear. No name, just a woman standing in a field with a bicycle. Her eyes are soft. Her hands are in her pockets. The sun is high behind her, and she's squinting like it's too bright to look ahead. Whoever she is, she meant something to someone. And I'm keeping her here with me now, on the wall next to the transmitter. A quiet face watching me talk into the dark. I picked up a call late last night. I almost didn't answer. It came through on a weak, cracked channel. But I'm glad I did. His name is Reggie. He's holed up in a library in northern Florida. Said he's sleeping between the shelves in the reference section. Still smells like old paper, he said. I've got water from the staff sink. I scavenged some peanut butter from a vending machine that got cracked open. There's a solar lantern I found in a car parked out front. It barely holds a charge, but it's enough to read a few pages. I've been reading old encyclopedias. Weird, huh? But it helps. I like knowing stuff, even if it doesn't matter anymore. I guess it reminds me the world used to be more than just survival. It was curious. Reggie, if you're listening, I think that still matters. Curiosity. Wonder. We can't let those things die too. I spent most of the day sorting supplies. What's left, what's not. It's not looking great. I've got maybe 3 days worth of fuel, a few cans, Some powdered milk I've been stretching by, mixing it half and half with boiled rainwater. Tastes like nothing, but it keeps the stomach from eating itself. Still, I've seen worse. I passed by a field today. It was empty the last time I checked. Now there's a small shelter built from plywood and sheet metal, smoke from a small chimney rising steady into the sky. Someone's living there now. I didn't approach, didn't want to scare them. But I left a note near the edge of the path. Broadcast still running. 87.3 AM. We're still here. If they're listening now, if they found this voice, welcome. You're not alone. I want to give a few updates. Call-ins, messages, scraps I've picked up and saved. First, Marta from outside Omaha says they've cleared out an old laundromat and turned it into a soup kitchen. No power, but plenty of metal tubs and old gas burners. They've got a system. Wash water every morning, food by noon, heat at dusk. She says they serve between 40 and 50 people each day now. Everyone brings something, even just a peeled potato or stories. Second, Caleb from Tucson says he and his brother are mapping rooftop solar panels in the area. They go out during the day, mark what still works, and come back at night to draw it all up on a big roll of paper. They've been using parts to charge radios and medical equipment. If you're near Tucson and can hear this, try the old fire station on Calle Cuervo. They leave signs with arrows. Third, this one's hard to say. I got a message scratched into a piece of siding from someone near Atlanta. No name, just this. There's a man down here who takes what he wants. We tried to hide from him. It didn't work. If you're traveling, don't go south. Not yet. It's not safe. I won't speculate. I don't want to spread fear. But I promised I'd tell the truth. So be careful. Be watchful. Travel light. And never forget that not everyone out there remembers who they used to be. I've had people ask, not many but enough, why I keep doing this. Why stay on the air when barely anyone's listening? The answer's simple. Because someone is listening. I don't need to know your name. I don't need to see your face. But if this voice keeps you from giving up, even for one more hour, it's worth it. I used to think survival was about strength, but it's not. It's about remembering what we were, what we lost, what we could be again, if we hold on long enough. I'll be back on the air tonight, same time, if the power holds, if nothing goes wrong. And I'll leave you with this. There's an old tree near the edge of town, big, gnarled thing, survived the fires and storms, lost most of its branches, but one is still growing sideways, like it's reaching for something even now. That's us. Bent, burned, scarred, but still reaching. It's night again. I'm back in the dark. Just me, this microphone, and the glow of the old transmitter light. It's a dull orange now. Used to be bright green when everything worked the way it was supposed to. I've been thinking about silence lately. How loud it is. How it gets into your ears and your bones. It's not just the absence of noise. It's the presence of something else. A waiting. A wait. I sat outside for a while before coming back on air. The wind was quiet, but I could hear it moving across the fields like a whisper in slow motion. A barn door squeaked. A dog barked once, far away. Then nothing. And then I saw a light. Just a flicker. Not a fire. Not a flare. Something lower, more careful. It disappeared before I could tell where it came from. I hope it was someone being careful, I hope they were safe. It made me think of a message I found earlier today. Slipped under the station door, wrapped in plastic and tied with a shoelace. Written in pencil on the back of a cereal box. We're 3 people, 2 adults, 1 kid, staying in the old veterinarian's office. We have rice and 2 cans of soup left, looking for others we can trade. We're not dangerous. No names, no return note. Just that. To the people at the vet clinic, I hear you. If you're still close, listen at sunrise. I'll share a location where we've left supplies. Take what you need, leave what you can. We've started something, haven't we? A kind of slow heartbeat, a rhythm. Not a society yet, but not nothing either. And that's worth protecting. I want to tell you a story about a man named Julian. He showed up here 2 days ago, just before dusk. Thin, tired, eyes sunken like he hadn't slept in weeks. He knocked on the window, holding up a piece of paper that said, "Radio." I let him in. We shared water, a few spoonfuls of beans. He didn't talk much at first, just kept glancing at the equipment like it was something holy. Then he told me he used to work in broadcast, said he ran a college station, played jazz and folk. The weird stuff, he said, smiling for the first time. He helped me fix the backup antenna, showed me how to boost the signal using an old fan motor and some stripped copper wire. Before he left, he looked at me and said, "People don't realize how much radio matters until everything else is gone." Julian, if you're listening, thank you. You helped more than you know. Let me share a few voices tonight. First is Natalie, from what's left of Santa Fe. I've started keeping a journal. Every morning, I write one thing I saw that gave me hope. Today, it was a crow bathing in a puddle. Yesterday, it was a kid playing with a stick like it was a lightsaber. The day before that, it was a man fixing a bicycle for a stranger. None of it changes the world, but it helps me survive it. Natalie, keep writing. One day, those words will be history. Second, Sam and Leah, from somewhere near Pittsburgh. We've set up a camp near a collapsed overpass. It's not much, just tarps and crates, but we're alive. We mark safe routes with chalk arrows. We leave food where we can. If you're listening, we have a working hand radio and a solar stove. Come find us. Bring stories. Sam and Leah, you're the map makers now. You're the ones sketching the new paths. And finally, this one from a boy named Ellis, 11 years old. His handwriting was crooked and small. My mom and I live in the library. I feed the birds with crackers. She says I should read a book every day. Today I read one about volcanoes. I want to see one someday. I hope someone out there can still hear us. If you can, we're on Main Street. The sign says, "Shh," but it's okay to talk now. Ellis, you made me cry. Thank you. I hope someone brings you another book soon. Let me switch to something practical now, because I know many of you are still struggling just to get through the next day. If you're running out of clean water, try this. Dig a small hole in the ground. Put a container in the center. Cover the hole with plastic, weighing down the edges with stones. Place a small rock in the center of the plastic above the container. During the day, moisture will collect and drip down. It's not fast, but it works. Solar distillation. If you find a car battery that still holds charge, don't waste it. Wire it to a 12-volt adapter. Use it only to charge radios, flashlights, or heat water. If you use it for light, keep the bulbs low wattage, and only at night, only behind blackout curtains. And if you're sick, rest. Wrap up. Sip water slowly. Use honey or boiled pine needles for sore throats. Keep the air moist if you can. Most of all, don't give up. The body remembers how to heal, even when we forget how to believe it can. I want to end tonight by saying something simple. I believe in you. I don't know your name. I don't know where you are. But I believe in the fact that you're listening. That you've made it through this many nights already. That you're still trying, still moving, still listening. That means everything. I'll be back on the air at dawn. As long as I have breath, as long as these wires hold, I'll keep this voice going. Until then, watch the sky, boil your water, write something, hug someone if you can, and if not, close your eyes and pretend you are. We're still here. Still. It rained last night. Not hard, just a light, steady drizzle that started sometime around midnight and kept going until just after sunrise. I fell asleep listening to it. Soft taps on the roof, the occasional splash against the cracked window. No thunder, no lightning, just water. It used to be something you ignored. Now it's sacred. This morning, I walked outside with every container I had. Bowls, jars, even a cracked helmet someone left behind. I lined them up along the edge of the building and let the rain do its quiet work. It's not enough to last the week, but it's something. When you're living on scraps and hope, every drop counts. The sky was still gray when I got back inside, and the smell, it was clean, damp earth, wet concrete, the faint metallic trace of ozone. I just stood there for a while, breathing it in, like my lungs were remembering what the world used to feel like. I don't have much to report this morning. No new messages, no fresh signals. But I do have a few things worth saying, and I think that's enough. There's been a change in the air lately. Not just the rain, not just the wind. It's in the way people move, the way they speak. I passed by a group of teenagers yesterday. 4 of them, maybe 16, 17. One of them had a slingshot. Another carried a backpack made from a broken duffel bag stitched together with fishing line. They didn't speak much, just looked at me, nodded, and moved on. But there was no fear in their eyes, just focus, purpose. That's new. A month ago, people were panicking. Now they're planning. That doesn't make it easier, but it does make it feel a little more possible. I sat by the creek this afternoon and tried to remember the sound of my own laughter. Not just the feeling of smiling, but a real laugh, a belly laugh, a spontaneous one that comes from nowhere and takes over. I couldn't do it. Not yet, but I remembered someone else's. My brother, maybe 5 years ago, laughing so hard he dropped a slice of pizza on the floor. He didn't even care. Just kept laughing, tears in his eyes, like the world was the funniest place to be. That's what I'm holding on to today. That memory. And maybe, if I say it out loud, someone else will remember something too. You see, that's what this is really about. Not just survival. Not just food and shelter and batteries. It's memory. It's meaning. It's the pieces we carry of the world that came before, so we can build something better after. I've been rereading some of the old messages I saved. Scraps of paper, notes tied to bottles, voices caught on tape. One of them came from a girl named Mira in Louisville. I sing every night before I go to bed. Not loud, just to myself. My mom used to sing to me. Now I sing to the dark. It makes me feel like she's still here. Another from a man named Terrence in Wyoming. My dog's still with me. He's scared of the dark, but I think he knows I am too. We stay close. I talk to him like he understands everything. Maybe he does. And another, just a line, unsigned. Every morning I light a candle and say a name I miss. Some days I cry, some days I smile. Either way, I remember. That's it. That's everything. We remember. We carry. We keep going. If you're new to this frequency, welcome. You're hearing a voice broadcast from a barely working station somewhere in the middle of Colorado. I won't tell you exactly where. Not because I don't trust you, just because I don't want to draw the wrong kind of attention. But I want you to know this. If you can hear me, you are not alone. I'm still here, and I'll keep showing up as long as I can. As long as my lungs hold breath. As long as there's even a flicker left in the wires. You don't have to respond. You don't have to believe. But if it helps, then keep this station in your ear when you sleep. Keep it humming in the background when you boil water, when you're scared, when you're tired, because that's what it's here for. A small, steady sound. Proof that something survived. Tonight I'll try to boost the signal again. If you're further out, Utah, Montana, Kansas, listen after sundown. I'll be broadcasting a set of survival tips, coordinates of safe houses I've heard of, and a story or two. I'll keep doing that every night until I can't anymore. In the meantime, talk to someone, even if they don't answer. Wrap your blankets tighter. Don't waste the matches. Let yourself feel something if it comes. It means you're still human. I'll be back at dusk. Stay here with me. We're still breathing. I'm on the air a little later than usual tonight. Had to reroute the wiring from the generator. The backup cable line melted this morning. Literally melted. Not from heat, but corrosion. It's been exposed to moisture too long. I'm guessing the rain yesterday finally ate through the last thread of copper. I nearly lost everything. But I didn't. I found a replacement tucked in the back of the maintenance shed, coated in dust but intact. I spent the last few hours laying flat on my back in the cold, trying to line it up, hands shaking, jaw clenched from the cold and nerves. And when I flipped the switch, there was that sound. The low, pulsing hum of power coming back through the wires. I cried. I didn't mean to. It just happened. It wasn't joy, exactly. It wasn't relief either. It was just proof that something still worked. That I could still fix something. In a world where everything feels broken, that's rare. So here I am, still talking, still transmitting, still hoping you're out there. I had a message left outside the station this morning. Chalk scribbled on the pavement in hurried block letters. We listened. We heard you. Don't stop. No name, no trail. But I saw it. To whoever left that, thank you. Sometimes all you need is 5 words to get through another day. I want to speak tonight to the ones who haven't found others yet. The ones who wake up every morning and go to sleep every night in silence. The ones who haven't heard another voice in days. You are not broken. You are not failing. You are surviving in the hardest way possible. Alone. But even then, you are not forgotten. There are people out there who would sit beside you if they could, share a fire, split their last can, tell you the name of a song they miss or a flavor they dream about. I promise you that's real. I had someone call in last night. His name was Owen, from somewhere in Missouri. The signal was weak, but I caught enough. I've been alone since day one, lost my wife in the first week. She had a heart condition. We didn't have the medicine. I buried her in the backyard. I marked the grave with stones from our garden. Now I sit with her every evening. Talk like she's still here. It helps. Your voice helps too. Owen, if you're listening, I don't have the words. But I hear you. I'm with you. And I hope someone out there finds you soon. Here's something else. A boy named Jordan left a recording on a memory card taped to a bottle. I found it near the old bridge this afternoon. I almost missed it, half buried under a pile of damp leaves. His voice was quiet, young. Hi, my name's Jordan. I'm 13. I'm okay. I have a dog. Her name's Pepper. We sleep in the basement of my school. My teacher used to say, if you're scared, make a plan. So I made one. Every morning, I count my cans. Every afternoon, I clean. Every night, I listen to the radio. I heard you. You make me feel like maybe it's not over. Jordan, if you can hear me, you're doing everything right. Keep counting. Keep cleaning. Keep listening. And Pepper, keep him safe. I wish I could say the worst is over, that help is coming, that this was just a short, cruel chapter in an otherwise safe story. But I won't lie. This is the new world, and we're writing it as we go. Still, there's something about that idea that gives me strength. We're the authors now, the builders. We get to decide what rises from this wreckage. I've seen the worst of people, but I've also seen the best. I saw a woman in a wheelchair being pushed up a hill by a boy no older than 10. He didn't have shoes on, but he pushed her anyway. I saw a man split his last protein bar with a stranger who could barely stand. I saw a group of teenagers build a water filter out of sand, gravel, and a torn t-shirt, and then teach an old man how to use it. These things matter. They may not make headlines, but they make hope. If you found any trick, any skill that works, pass it on. Leave a note. Draw a picture. Speak it out loud. Share it. Because that's how we rebuild. One idea. One act. One voice at a time. And if you have nothing else to give, then give your presence. Sit with someone. Let them talk. Or not. Let them feel human again. Let them feel seen. Tonight, I'll keep the transmitter on until the battery dips below 10%. If you can hear me, I'll be sharing locations of rumored safe zones, places where people are gathering, places where light still burns. I'll read them slowly, twice, then I'll go quiet. But I'll be back, as long as I can. So if you're huddled under blankets, or staring at the dark, or holding someone close and wondering if they'll still be there tomorrow, know this: I'm still here, and you are too, and that is enough, for now. This morning I heard birds. It sounds small, I know, but I hadn't heard them in days, maybe weeks. At first, I thought I imagined it, just a flicker of memory playing games in my head. But no, it was real. A slow, fluttering chirp from the trees behind the shed. Then another answering it. Sharp, rhythmic, familiar in a way that made my chest ache. I sat there for a while and just listened, eyes closed, cold wind in my face, and those birds, singing like the world hadn't changed at all. That's what hope feels like now. Small, fragile, outnumbered, but alive. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is just a voice. One voice on one frequency, coming from somewhere in what used to be the middle of Colorado. I don't have a name. I don't have a badge or a mission or a script. Just a mic, a heartbeat, and the will to speak into the dark. And if you're still listening, that's enough for both of us. I want to talk about a woman I met today. Her name's Aisha. She's from Denver, or what's left of it. She came walking into town wearing a long coat made of stitched-together blankets. On her back, a backpack made from 2 grocery bags and a busted tent frame. She had calm eyes. That's rare these days. We sat by the fire outside the station. She didn't talk much, not at first, just watched the flames like they owed her something. Then she said, "I walked through silence for 7 days before I heard a voice again. I thought I was the last one left." She told me about the walk, about the cars stuck in intersections, the dogs running wild, the half-burned signs pleading for help. She told me about the sky over the Rockies, how it turned pink one evening, and how she almost stopped walking just to stare. Aisha had a journal, too, a thick one, covered in duct tape. She writes in it every night, even if it's just a sentence. Sometimes she copies down graffiti or conversations she overhears. She says, "If nobody's left to tell the story, it's like we never existed." She left before dusk, said she was headed west, told me she doesn't stay anywhere longer than a day. But before she walked off, she turned and said, "Don't stop talking. The world is quieter without you." So I won't. Let me read some of the safe zone reports I've gathered. I can't guarantee they're accurate. I can't promise they're safe. But they've been repeated by enough people that I believe they're worth sharing. Old fairgrounds outside Sioux Falls. Camp set up in the horse barn. They're collecting rainwater. One report says they've got a nurse and a working generator. Community center in Tulsa, corner of 9th and Marshall. Supposedly has solar panels on the roof and a group of volunteers running meal lines. An orchard near Ashland, Oregon, former CSA farm, now housing 15 families in old fruit crates and cabins. They've rigged up a pulley system to deliver supplies across a flooded road. If you're close to any of those places, move carefully. Don't show up empty-handed if you can help it. Offer something, even just time, or a skill, or the news. Now, I've got another voice to share. This one came from an old voicemail recorder I salvaged last week. I've been playing through the tapes slowly. Most are static, but this one made it through. "Hey, this is Clay. I'm leaving this in case you come back. I cleaned the wound the best I could. Used the alcohol from the truck kit. I boiled the bandages. I know it's not enough, but I didn't want to leave you alone. I buried the others near the fence line. If you find this, I'll be at the water tower, every sunset, for as long as I can." I don't know if that message ever made it to the person it was meant for, but I'm sharing it anyway, because if nothing else, maybe it makes you feel a little less alone. And that's what this voice is for. Let me give some quick tips before I shut down for the night. If you're trying to stay warm, layer your clothes. Even newspaper between shirts helps trap heat. Don't sleep directly on the ground. Raise yourself on cardboard, leaves, wood, anything that breaks the cold. Share body heat. Safely, with trust. Human warmth goes further than fire sometimes. And if you're walking, travel early. Rest midday. Move again near dusk. Avoid the dead middle of the night. Leave symbols behind. An X scratched on wood. A pebble stack. A single glove. It might save someone else. Carry salt if you can. And sugar. Not much. Just enough to keep your muscles from going numb. Before I go quiet for the night, I want to tell you something simple. You are doing better than you think. You've made it this far. You've survived the shock, the fear, the nights without sleep, the days without answers. You found water, or warmth, or shelter, or maybe just the will to keep breathing. That matters. That's everything. So if you're lying in a dark room with no windows, or huddled beneath a tarp with your back against a stone wall, or staring at a cold flame that won't catch, know this: I'm here, I'm real, and I'll keep talking until the signal fades, until the wires snap, until the last battery dies. I'll be here, so you don't have to face this alone. It's quiet now, the kind of quiet you only get after a storm, or after something breaks that can't be fixed. There was an argument in the street outside earlier today. I don't know what it was about. I didn't go out. Just listened from behind the door. 2 voices, a man and a woman. I could hear the panic in the woman's tone. The man kept repeating something. I think it was, "That was mine," over and over again, like he was stuck on the sentence, like he couldn't get out of it. Then silence, just like that. I waited 15 minutes before I opened the window. They were gone. I don't know what they left behind, but they're not the only ones. This world is full of echoes now. Conversations cut short. Arguments will never resolve. Goodbyes no one got to say. I've been carrying a lot of those myself. Names I didn't write down. Faces I didn't memorize. People I passed in the early days of this collapse, when I thought it would all blow over in a week or 2. I remember a woman with green gloves standing by a bus stop. She was holding a duffel bag and staring at a phone that no longer worked. I remember a boy pushing a shopping cart full of cereal boxes down an alley, singing quietly to himself. I remember a man in a firefighter's coat holding a flare, waving at the sky like someone would come down and save us. I don't know where any of them are now. Maybe they're still out there. Maybe they're listening. If you are, write something. Leave a mark. Let someone know you're still breathing. It matters more than you know. I had a visitor today. Didn't see them, but I know they were here. Found a tin cup on the front step. Inside, 3 matches, a half bar of soap, and a folded piece of paper that simply said, "For the one with the voice." I sat down with it in my hands and didn't move for almost an hour. Not because of what was in the cup, but because someone out there thought of me. The weight of that is heavier than anything I've carried this week. I want to share a message from someone named Kiara, just outside Billings. She left it scratched into the side of a stop sign with a nail. We've got chickens. We've got clean water. We need help with medicine. Come quietly. No weapons. We watch the hill after sunset. That's the kind of communication we're dealing with now. Sharp, sparse, director. But it works. If you're anywhere near Billings, and you're healthy, and you have anything medical, gauze, alcohol, Tylenol, even just instructions on what to do, please head that way. Follow the signs. Be respectful. Don't take more than you need. Bring warmth. Bring calm. That's our currency now. I've been asked a few times, how do you keep from breaking? It's a good question. The truth is, I don't always. Some nights I sit here and stare at the wall and let the dark crawl up around my throat. Sometimes I say names out loud just to remember how they sound. Sometimes I forget what day it is, or what month, and I have no idea what year it feels like anymore. But then I open the logbook. I read the messages. I look at the faces I've drawn from memory. I hear the birds, or the wind, or the echo of someone passing quietly in the distance. And I breathe, and that's enough. That's all you need to keep from breaking. One breath, one sound, one reminder that the world hasn't gone completely silent. If you're listening, I want you to try something. Tonight, before you fall asleep, say one word out loud. Any word. Doesn't matter what it is. Just let it exist. Let it float. Let it live in the air for a second longer than the silence. That's how we stay human. By remembering that our voices still matter. Even now. Especially now. I'll be back on the air just before dawn. If the fuel holds, if the wires don't freeze, if the static doesn't drown me out. And I'll be sharing more names, more places, more of the map that's being written every day by people like you. People who are still choosing to live in a world that forgot how. Until then, hold the light. Protect what matters. And if you can't sleep, talk to the dark. It's listening too. The sun never really showed up today. Just a slow shift from black to dark gray. The kind of light that makes everything look like it's covered in ash, even when it isn't. It's colder again, and the frost didn't melt on the east side of the building. I had to knock ice off the water buckets. Cracked one by mistake. That's the third container I've lost this week. Plastic doesn't last long in this kind of cold. The air has that kind of bite to it that feels like it's chewing at the tips of your fingers, no matter how many layers you put on. My breath fogs when I talk, even here, near the mic. But I've learned to keep going through it. What else is there? I spent part of the morning cleaning out the attic above the transmitter room. Found a box of cassette tapes labeled Dad's Collection and a half-broken recorder. I played one, had to wedge a pencil under the lid to keep it shut. It was a birthday party. You could hear kids laughing, someone clapping along to an out-of-tune guitar. In the background, a woman singing. Softly, like she wasn't even sure she wanted to be recorded. But she sang anyway. I must have listened to that same 5 minutes 10 times before the tape finally gave out. That's how fragile memory is now. Worn plastic, thin ribbon, a sound barely held together. But it made me feel something, and that's enough. I had a message today from someone calling themselves Cross. No city, no hint of where they are. Just a shortwave transmission that came through late last night. We've started lighting fires in metal drums every third hill. It's a pattern. People are supposed to light theirs if they're alive and nearby. If 3 are burning in a row, you move toward the middle. If one is dark, you move the other way. It's slow, but it's something. To cross. Thank you. That's more than something. That's smart. And it gives me ideas. Maybe that's what we need to start building. Systems that don't rely on what we lost. Signals that don't need satellites. Maps that don't need a power grid. Fire, smoke, stones, chalk, patterns. That's our new internet. I want to say something about grief. Not the kind that hits you like a hammer. The slow kind. The kind that leaks into your bones. The kind you carry with you in silence. The kind that doesn't shout. It just hums. Quiet. Constant. Unshakable. It's not always about who you lost. Sometimes it's about who you were. I've had moments lately where I catch myself standing a certain way, or folding my arms like I used to when I worked at a desk. And I realize, I don't know who that person is anymore. I remember what I used to do, what I used to worry about. But that version of me is somewhere behind a wall I can't break through. That's grief, too. Losing the version of yourself you thought you'd always be. So if you're feeling that, if you're caught between who you were and what this world is forcing you to become, you're not broken. You're just changing. That's what survival is. Change, adaptation. Finding a way to stay yourself in a world that's forgotten the shape of you. Someone left a small wooden carving on the back step of the station. A bird, wings outstretched. It's not detailed, just rough whittling. But the shape is clear. A robin, maybe. Or a dove. I don't know who made it. No message. No markings. Just that bird, waiting. I brought it inside. It's sitting on the windowsill now, looking out, watching the sky. If you're still out there, still listening, I want to give you a name. Not mine, yours. Say it. Out loud, right now. Whisper it into the dark. Because names matter, voices matter, you matter. I'll be back on the air tonight. A little earlier if I can. Still gathering safe zone reports. Still trying to verify rumors. Still waiting to hear if anyone made it out of Charleston. Last I heard, there was a signal beacon being set up in the courthouse. I'll let you know if I learn more. Until then, stay still when you need to. Move when you have to. And if it feels like too much, remember, we weren't built for this. But we are surviving it anyway. That makes us more than strong. That makes us human. And I still believe that's worth something. I'm watching the sun set behind a row of abandoned telephone poles. They don't carry signal anymore. Haven't in a long time. But they're still standing. Weather-beaten, splintered at the tops, like crooked fingers pointing toward the sky, asking questions no one's answered yet. It's strange, what stays. The wires between the poles have sagged. Some have snapped. Others are just hanging there, twisting slightly in the wind like they're waiting to come down but haven't decided when. That's what this whole world feels like now. Something sagging, not broken, not yet, but tired, ready to fall. Still, we're here, still standing, so I'm back on the air, just like always. Tonight I want to read something I found etched into the wall of the gas station on Route 15. I walked there this afternoon. It's been stripped of everything useful, but someone took a knife or a rock, or maybe just their fingernail, and carved these words into the bathroom stall. We thought the end would be louder. Instead, it was a flicker, a hush, a kind of forgetting. It's true. This wasn't fire and chaos and sirens. It was everything stopping. A microwave frozen mid-countdown. A phone screen that never woke back up. A streetlight blinking one last time before going dark for good. The world didn't scream. It went quiet. And we were left to listen to the silence. But even now, I'm still hearing voices. Not ghosts. Not hallucinations. Real ones. Today I picked up a shortwave broadcast coming from somewhere in the northern plains. A woman reading poetry. Just that. No request for supplies, no map, no instructions. Just her voice, steady and soft, reading poems into the dark. And when the fields lay quiet, we remembered how to breathe. I didn't catch her name. The signal faded halfway through. But for 5 full minutes, I wasn't here anymore. I was there, wherever she was, sitting close to some crackling receiver, maybe beside a fire, eyes closed, just listening. Whoever you are, keep reading. We need that just as much as food and fire. There's something else I want to tell you about. It's been weighing on me. I found a child's backpack today, just sitting on the side of the road near the edge of the creek. It was blue with faded cartoon patches, soaked through from last night's rain. Inside, there were 3 things. A small notebook with 2 pages filled, just drawings of trees and birds. A juice box, unopened but punctured. And a shoe, just one, tiny. I didn't see anyone nearby. No footprints, no signs of struggle. Just that backpack. I buried it under a tree and left a circle of stones around it. Because even if I never know their name, they were here. And they mattered. This world will try to strip that from us. The memory of who we've lost. The meaning of what we carry. But we don't have to let it. You, listening right now, you have memories too. Maybe 1,000. Maybe just one. Say it out loud. Share it. Write it on a wall. Whisper it to a friend. Scratch it in the dirt if you have to. Because the more we say, the less we forget. And we can't afford to forget any more. Now, before I lose the signal again, here's what I know. There's still movement out west. Reports of solar power being restored in fragments near Portland. Don't go there blind, but if you're within reach, watch the sky at night. Someone said they've begun flashing mirrors at dusk to signal others. A campfire network has started near Kansas City. People leaving charred symbols in fire pits to mark what's safe. Circle means food. Triangle means danger. Square means shelter. Burned in deep. Hard to miss. A man named Tobias near Little Rock has a working water purification rig. Built it using an old RV filter, charcoal, and gravel. He leaves samples at the old bridge checkpoint every 3rd day. If you're near any of those places, tread soft. Bring something to give. And listen before you speak. Trust is slow now. Earned, not expected. Before I close for the night, I want to pass along a message I received earlier. A scrap of cardboard, tied to a lantern and left at my door. I thought I was going to die last winter. I didn't. I thought I'd never see another fire. I did. I thought I'd forgotten how to speak. I hadn't. You reminded me. Thank you. To whoever left that, you reminded me. I'll be back tomorrow. Same voice, same wire, same stubborn heartbeat beating back the dark. Until then, watch for birds, light your fires low, and if you see a wire still hanging in the sky, don't cut it down. Let it hang. Let it be a reminder. We were connected once, and we will be again. It's early morning. Cold again. I can see my breath inside the transmitter room now, even with the door closed and the windows sealed. I'm wearing everything I own. 2 coats, 3 shirts, a thermal blanket tucked under my collar. Still shivering. But I'm here. The generator held overnight. Just barely. I had to shut down for 3 hours around midnight to let it rest, let the oil settle. During that time, I sat in complete darkness. No candle, no radio, just silence. It's strange what the mind does when everything's off. You start hearing things. Your heartbeat. Your teeth grinding without you realizing. The creak of the ceiling expanding and shrinking with the wind. And then, under all that, something else. The memory of noise. A crowd, maybe. A car starting. A phone vibrating on a nightstand. A refrigerator's hum. I miss that one the most for some reason. That quiet hum meant life, food, routine, normal. I don't know if we'll ever have those sounds again. But I know we can have voices, so here's mine. Still here. Still yours. Still reaching out. I've been tracking weather changes lately, writing them down. The wind's colder now, but not as sharp. The clouds are thicker than they should be. Could mean a storm, could mean nothing. But if you're near the Rockies, stay out of the low passes. Snow's already closing in. Stick to the tree lines if you're moving. Camp near old buildings if you have to. Even if they're falling apart, stone walls hold heat better than nothing. I want to share a few more reports. In Mississippi, someone calling himself Ellis says they've set up a greenhouse out of a collapsed gymnasium. They've got spinach and kale growing under glass and foil. Still figuring out heat, but they're surviving. Near Lake Tahoe, a group of 4, 2 adults, 2 teenagers, left a signal for others. Stacked rocks near the north trailhead form a symbol, 2 spirals side by side. That means we trade, we listen, we're here. And in northern Maine, someone rigged a bike-powered radio tower. No name, but the message was short and clear. Signal. Every morning. Tell your stories. So here's one of mine. I remember the first morning after the blackout. The lights didn't come back on. The fridge was warm. My phone was dead. I stepped outside and saw my neighbor, Ron, I think was his name, standing in the middle of the street in pajama pants, just staring at his car. He looked at me and said, "Did we lose a war?" I didn't answer. I didn't know. I still don't. All I know is this feels like a war, not with bombs or guns, but with absence, with slow unraveling. A war where every day you get up and try to remember why you still bother brushing snow off your boots or counting cans or making fire. A war where the enemy is forgetting, and the only weapon we have left is memory. So remember with me. I want to read a message I found scratched into the inside of a metal lunchbox left at the base of the water tower. To whoever finds this, my daughter's name was Lily. She liked frogs. She drew them everywhere. If you see a frog scratched into a wall, it was her. Please don't erase it. I saw one. A frog. Carved into a picnic table behind the old museum near the railroad tracks. I didn't know what it meant at the time. Now I do. I won't erase it. None of us should. Now, some practical notes. If you've run out of matches or lighter fluid, here's a trick. Use steel wool and a 9-volt battery. Just touch them together and the wool will spark. Catch it on paper or dry moss. But be careful. It's fast. Keep water nearby. Another. If your shoes are falling apart, use inner tube rubber from old tires. Slice it into soles. Sew it in with fishing line or dental floss if you've got it. And for warmth, stuff your clothes with dry leaves or crumpled paper. It's loud, but it works. Noise won't kill you. Cold might. Now here's a message from Elijah and Rose, somewhere near Santa Rosa. We've built a small camp on the edge of the redwoods, old hunting lodge, 6 of us now. We cook rice in a pressure pot on a fire made of broken chairs. Still feels like we're camping, still waiting to wake up. But your voice makes it feel more like home. We listen every morning. And sometimes, we cry. That's not weakness. It's the only strength we've got left. Elijah. Rose. Thank you. Keep crying. Keep listening. Keep building. Home isn't a place now. It's what we carry, what we say, what we share. I'll be back again tonight, reading more coordinates, telling more stories, making sure this frequency stays alive for as long as possible. Until then, gather wood, warm your hands, say the names of people you miss, say them out loud. Let the walls hear you. Let the air remember them. Because the silence may be wide, but our voices still matter. I've been thinking about routines, how we used to build our days around them without realizing. The beep of a morning alarm, the sound of a coffee pot, the shower running, doors opening and closing, cars starting. Now, my routine starts with fire, then water, then silence, then this microphone. Sometimes I wonder if that's all I am now. Just a voice that wakes up and speaks into the dark, hoping it lands somewhere, on someone. But I've come to understand, this routine is survival, not just mine, yours too. This radio signal is a thread, and if you're still listening, that means you haven't let go. So, good morning, if that's what it is where you are. If it's night, or twilight, or snowing, or burning, that's okay too. We're all on different clocks now. Yesterday, I received a letter, folded carefully, wrapped in a scarf that someone pinned to the doorframe with a twig. The paper was soft. Someone must have carried it a long way. The ink was faded, but it was still legible. It said, "We have found each other again. There are 12 of us now. 1 child, 1 baby. The rest are tired, but still here. We listen to your voice as we cook, as we sit in silence. It reminds us that the world has not disappeared. It just went quiet. And quiet is something we can survive." There was no name, no return note. But that scarf still smells like wood smoke and pine sap. To the 12 of you, thank you. I'm still here, and I'll keep showing up as long as you do. I walked beyond the ridge this morning. There's a road that curves east and disappears into what used to be farmland. It's mostly rubble now. Broken fences, collapsed sheds, rows of soil turned dry and split like broken skin. But I saw something new. A windmill. Spinning. It wasn't elegant. Looked like it had been built from scrap. Maybe a stop sign. Maybe a broken sled. But it moved, turned with the wind. Steady and slow. Below it, a boy and his father had rigged up a cable into a car battery. I didn't get close, didn't interrupt, just watched. That was enough. People are building again. Not big, not fast, but real. Piece by piece, bolt by bolt, one stubborn hand at a time. And that's how we'll get through this. Not with miracles, with persistence. If you're alone right now, listen closely. I know the silence feels heavy. I know your thoughts feel loud. But I need you to do one thing. Count something. Your steps, your breaths, your heartbeats, the number of clouds in the sky. Whatever it is, count it. Because it means you're still part of time, still moving through the world, still here. And that matters more than you know. Now, I want to read a few call-ins that came through on the backup frequency. First, a woman named Cassidy, somewhere near Fargo. We've gathered near an abandoned church. We cook over the altar now. Seems blasphemous, but it's the only place with stone flooring. It holds the heat. Every night, we light candles and leave them in the pews. Not for prayer, just for memory. Each candle is a name we want to remember. Last night, we lit 17. Cassidy, I lit one here too. Second, from Greg and Mia in Western Texas. We started a lending library out of old phone books and paper scraps. We write down everything people remember. Recipes, first aid, planting schedules, even jokes. One guy remembered a joke from the 90s and we wrote it down like it was a national treasure. Maybe it is. Maybe everything is now. Greg, Mia, keep writing. We'll need those books more than we know. And last, a voice from a man named Dwayne. He didn't say where he was. Just this. I buried my wife today. She asked me not to do it alone, so I brought the radio and played your voice while I did it. I figured if you were there, it counted. She always liked the sound of people talking. Dwayne? I heard you. I was there, and I'll carry her name with me now, even if I never know what it was. This right here is how we make it. By showing up for each other. By sitting beside the grief, not rushing past it. By holding each other's names in the air, even if the air is thin and cold and cruel. I'll be back tonight if the wind doesn't take the wires down. I'll share more messages, more names, more pieces of this broken world that still shine in the cracks. Until then, listen to the wind, talk to the fire, write something, anything, even just one word. Because every word we speak now is an act of rebellion, and every voice we remember is proof that we are still impossibly alive. I heard laughter tonight, real laughter. It came from beyond the old highway, where the burned-out fuel trucks still sit like rusting bones. I was out gathering wood, splintered crates, bits of collapsed porch railing, and I paused, axe in hand, because for a second I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. But it was real, a laugh, bright and sharp, maybe 2 or 3 people. It was distant, echoing, but it cut through the cold like firelight. I didn't go toward it, didn't need to. I just stood there and let the sound carry over me like a wave. Laughter, after everything. I hope whoever it was, whatever they were laughing at, it was real. I hope it wasn't forced, or nervous, or bitter. I hope it was joy, pure and stupid and human. That sound meant more than any broadcast I've made all week. Sometimes survival isn't a ration plan or a fire-starting trick. Sometimes it's a moment, a breath, a sound you didn't expect and don't deserve, but there it is anyway. So, if you're able, laugh. Even if it's just once. Even if no one's around to hear you. Let your body remember how. Tonight, I've got a list of voices. People who left their names scratched in stone or bark or bits of torn notebook paper. No big speeches, just fragments. I want to read them now. Sarah, Kansas City, still alive, looking for Eli. Wade and Carla, Southern Nevada, following the river south. Marisol, 3 children, hiding in a bookstore basement. Street names faded, smells like mold, but safe for now. Tomas, teacher, lost his hearing, still writing. Uses chalk on the walls of the school. Says he won't leave until someone finds his lesson plans. That last one broke me. Tomas, if you're somehow hearing this, or reading lips on a solar-powered screen, or just hearing it secondhand, thank you. Thank you for staying, for writing, for teaching, even when the world forgot the classroom. I've started keeping a list myself, not just names, but sounds. I call it my memory log. When everything's quiet, I write down the things I remember hearing back when things worked. Here's today's. The click of a toaster, keys in a bowl, a doorbell that always rang twice, the ding of a microwave, someone calling dinner's ready from another room. It hurts to write them, but it also helps, because that's the sound of what we had, and maybe one day it's the sound of what we'll have again. Here's a voice that came through on my backup receiver about an hour ago. The signal was weak, but I caught most of it. My name's Alton. I'm at a way station off Highway 41. There's 4 of us. 2 injured, 1 baby. We built a shelter out of broken pallets and road signs. It's not good, but it's better than the ditch. We're boiling river water. Got a fire going. We have blankets. If you're heading south, you can stop here. We'll share what we have. No weapons, please. We're tired. Alton, you're a good man. Keep the fire burning. I hope someone finds your signal, even if it's just this voice bouncing back at you through the dark. Before I power down for the night, I want to give some quick guidance for anyone still struggling with basic shelter. If you've got nothing but open air, dig down. A trench lined with stone or wood and covered in plastic or tarp holds heat better than nothing. Avoid hillsides. Rain will flood you out. Find high, flat ground if you can, or natural overhangs. Pine needles, dry grass, old clothes, anything can be insulation, even newspaper. Don't think pretty. Think warm. If you're near a structure, reinforce the windows with anything solid, wood, metal, even sheetrock torn from other walls. Break wind first, then build warmth. If you're sheltering in groups, share body heat. Rotate watches. Make rules. Even simple ones. Structure keeps panic out. Rituals keep the mind whole. Now, one last thing. I found a note etched into the side of a generator casing behind the water tower. It wasn't deep, just scratched with a nail or key. Barely visible, but I traced it with my finger. It said, "She used to braid my hair before school. Now I braid hers before bed. We're still here." That's it. No names, no place. Just survival, written in the smallest acts of care. If you're out there, to whoever wrote that, you gave me something tonight. More than you'll ever know. I'll be back again in the morning. If the wind doesn't pull down the lines, if the generator holds, if this throat still remembers how to speak. Until then, wrap tight, sleep low, sing to yourself if you can, even just a hum, because we are still here, and that's more than enough for now. Something strange happened this morning. I woke up before dawn. My body's still stuck in old habits, even though there's no clock to obey anymore. And I stepped outside the station with a pot to check on the water trap. I wasn't expecting much. The wind's been dry lately. The buckets have been mostly frost and dust. But this morning, there was steam. Real steam. A thin ribbon rising from the ground just past the gravel, winding up into the morning air. I walked toward it slowly, careful like the ground might break under me. And there it was, an old sewer grate, cracked open, releasing warmth from some underground pipe still holding heat. Maybe thermal. Maybe something from an old geothermal line that hadn't cooled yet. I don't know, but I sat beside it for nearly an hour. Didn't think, didn't talk, just breathed. Steam in the air, warmth on my face. For a moment, I felt alive again. I'm telling you this because I want you to remember. There are still warm places in this world. Not many, but they exist. And sometimes they find you when you're not looking. So if you stumble across one, don't question it. Just sit there. Let it remind you what it feels like to be something other than cold. There's a man living down the road in what used to be a bus stop. His name's Peter. He doesn't talk much. Wears 2 coats and carries a walking stick made from a metal curtain rod. Today, I found a note pinned to his blanket. I'm still here. I sleep. I eat. I watch the stars. I don't need anything right now. Just thought someone should know. I read that note 5 times. There's something about quiet survival that hits harder than screams. A whisper that says, "I'm here," is more powerful now than any anthem ever was. Peter, if you're listening, I know now. And I won't forget. Let me share a few more voices from this week. A girl named Leah, somewhere in Arkansas, sent a message wrapped in a plastic spoon, of all things. She wrote, "We've been boiling pine needles and eating rice. There are 6 of us. I make everyone tell a joke before bed. Doesn't matter if it's funny. We just need to remember how to laugh." Leah, thank you. If I knew a good joke, I'd tell it now. But maybe the joke is that we're still here, even when the world bet against us. Then there's Marcus, from somewhere around Great Falls. He left this on the side of a propane tank with a chunk of charcoal. I remember the sound of my mother's voice when she used to read me stories. So now I read to the fire. It crackles like it's listening. Maybe it is. Marcus, keep reading. Fire needs stories too. And one more. A woman named Faye in the Carolinas. Her voice came through the shortwave at dusk. Faint, but steady. My father used to fix radios. When the power went, I thought we'd be cut off for good. But I found his old gear in the attic. I don't know what half of it does, but I wired it together and something clicked. I heard you. And now I believe we might actually be able to find each other again. Faye, your father would be proud. You've built a lifeline, and I'm honored to be on the other end of it. Tonight, before I shut down, I want to pass on some simple survival tips I gathered this week. You can make a spoon from wood using a hot coal and a knife. Burn a depression, then carve around it. Takes time, but it works. If you're out of batteries, use mirrors to reflect moonlight or sunlight into dark corners. You'd be surprised what you can see, with just a little light redirected the right way. And this one is from a boy named Tavi in Missouri. He says if you sleep under a metal roof, listen closely when it rains. It sounds like applause. Like the world's clapping for you, just for making it another day. I think he's right. If you're near a metal roof tonight and you hear that sound, believe it. That's applause. That's your heartbeat echoing back at you from the sky. I've got just enough power to hold the signal another hour. After that, I'll go quiet till morning. If you've got anything left in you, write something. Even just a word, your name, a feeling, a memory. Tie it to a branch. Scratch it in a wall. Bury it in a box. We're building a world again, piece by piece. And every one of you is part of that. Tomorrow I'll read out a new list of places where people are gathering. Parks, barns, basements, shelters. If you've started one, leave a marker. Something simple. White flag. 3 stones in a triangle. A boot nailed to a post. Anything to say, this is where we are. Until then, listen to the wind, trust your instincts, rest when you can, and when you wake up, say out loud, I'm still here. because you are, and so am I.